The time is 4 o'clock. Good afternoon and welcome to the news from around the world on T Solid Radio. I am Joy Akin Olamigoki. First, the major headlines. World Health Organization alerts to fake COVID-19 vaccines as federal government receives more doses, begins vaccination. And under foreigners in Japan expands virus emergency to battle surge. Portugal battles wildfire as heat wave persists. And on the world of sports, Abraham completes Roma's switch from Chelsea for €40 million. And moving on to the news in details. As Nigeria commences rollout of the phase 2 of vaccination program with 4,080 Moderna vaccines donated by the United States of America, the World Health Organization on Monday alerted of the falsified Covishield coronavirus vaccine in circulation. The falsified products were reported to World Health Organization in July and August. The genuine manufacturer of Covishield, Serum Institute of India (PVT Limited), confirmed that the falsified product was first reported at the patient level in Uganda and India. According to a statement by WHO, falsified COVID-19 vaccine pose a serious risk to global public health and place an additional burden on vulnerable population and health system. The United Nations Apex Health Body said it is important to detect and remove this falsified product from circulation to prevent harm to patients. WHO also called for increased vigilance within the supply chains of countries and regions likely to be affected by this falsified product. About 40 million doses will be delivered to Nigeria from now to the third quarter of 2022 through the African Union's African Vaccine Acquisition Tax Team, while the country is committed a total of about $300 million for the order it has made. And no fewer than 40 persons have died out of about 1,000 people reported to have been diagnosed with cholera in 17 local government areas of Niger State. A deputy director in the State Ministry of Health and Hospital Services, Dr. Patrick Gimber, confirmed this to the Nigerian Tribune during an exclusive interview today in Mina. He said, yes, we are experiencing, I beg your pardon, an outbreak of cholera, while some people called it gastroenteritis. Speaking further, he explained that the state is doing a lot of things, and a lot of the things that is as soon as there is an outbreak, be it cholera or COVID-19 or anything in form of an outbreak, first of all, we have to open Public Health Emergency Operation Center. Dr. Gimba explained that every year there is an outbreak of cholera because of the rainy season, pointing out that cholera is typically a waterborne disease. The consumer price index, which measures inflation, dropped further to 17.38% year on year in July 2021. This is 0.37 points lower than the rate recorded in June 2021, 17.75%. The National Bureau of Statistics disclosed this in its Consumer Price Index report for June, which was released today. Meanwhile, food inflation declined to 21.0% compared to 21.83% recorded in the previous month, while core inflation stood at 13.73%, up to 0.63% compared to 13.09% recorded in the previous month. And you are still listening to the news from around the world on Sea Solid Radio. Still to come as the foreign and sport news. Do remember to download our app T Solid on Play Store or log on to www.tsolid.tv. You can as well follow us on our various social media platforms and at T Solid Radio TV. And on the foreign scene, Japan's government today expanded the coronavirus state of emergency to 7 more regions as it battles its record wave of infection a week before the Paralympics game. Virus emergency measures that ban restaurants and bars from selling alcohol and require them to close by 8 p.m. are already in place in Tokyo and five other regions and had been due to end by August 31st, but Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga said the measure would be expanded to additional areas with the restrictions in all parts of the country running until September 12th. In addition to the measures affecting bars and restaurants, the government will ask large shopping malls and department stores to limit the number of customers inside at one time. Japan has seen a smaller outbreak than many other countries with around 15,400 deaths despite avoiding lockdowns, but its inoculation program began later and more slowly than in many other developed countries, and only around 7% of the population is fully vaccinated. Hong Kong's leaders today warned one of the city's top legal bodies against getting involved in politics in the latest sign of the government telling professional bodies to toe Beijing's line. Chief Executive Carrie Lam's comment towards the Law Society comes as China remote Hong Kong in its own image and pursues civil society groups deemed to be politically disloyal or supportive of the city's democracy movement. With over 12,000 members, the Law Society is the city's largest association of solicitors and the only regulatory body of its type with statutory powers. It can issue practicing certificates, investigate professional malpractice, and establish rules of conduct for the industry. Next week, it will elect five of its 20 council members on pro-establishment figures are concerned. More liberal, more pro-democracy minded lawyers might win. The Bar Association has been more outspoken than the Law Society but consents that Hong Kong's vaunted judicial independence is being undermined by China's crackdown on dissent, including the imposition of a national security law that reshaped the city's legal landscape. Hundreds of Portuguese firefighters today struggled to control a blistering blaze that broke out in southern Portugal the day before, forcing the evacuation of around 80 people. Firefighters initially managed to control the wildfire that broke out in the early hours of Monday near the Spanish border in the tourist region of Algarve, but the blaze picked up again in the afternoon, spreading across around 300 hectares, 7,400 acres. It started in the municipality of Castro Marim in the hinterland near the Spanish border. Regional Civil Protection Force Commander Richard Marquez said, fanned by winds, it progressed like lightning towards the municipalities of Tavira and Villarreal de Santo Antonio, reaching a perimeter of about 40 kilometers and ripping through an estimated area of 9,000 hectares. A police official reported the evacuation of 81 people from around a dozen hamlets. Several farm and residential buildings were engulfed by the flames, local media reported. Malaysia's King Mass political party chiefs today has the hunt begun for a new prime minister a day after the last leader quit. Muhyiddin Yassin resigned Monday after a turbulent 17 months in office, plunging the country into political turmoil as it battles a worsening coronavirus outbreak. He fell on the sword after members of his crisis-riven coalition pulled support and amid mounting public anger at his government handling of the pandemic. The King Sultan Abdullah Sultan Ahmad Saha has ruled out election due to the outbreak, meaning it will likely be up to him to pick up the next premier based on who commands more support. Opposition chief Anwar Ibrahim and leaders from other parties added to the National Palace in Kuala Lumpur for a meeting with the monarch to chart a way forward. There has also been speculation a unitary government could be reformed until the outbreak is under control and polls can be held safely. MPs have also been asked to submit the name of their choice from Prime Minister to the palace by Wednesday afternoon, and the drama is expected to take several days to play out. And on the world of sport, Tammy Abraham has completed his move to Roma from Chelsea, the Serie A club announced on Monday. The England forward joined former Blues boss Jose Mourinho in the Italian capital in a deal worth €40 million. In a statement, rumours said that Abraham had signed a 5-year contract that Chelsea would retain the rights to a percentage of any future transfer fee involving the striker. And according to a report, the 23-year-old who will wear the number 9 jersey, left vacant by Edin Dzeko's transfer to Inter Milan, will earn €4.5 million net each season. Abraham moves to Roma after Romelu Lukaku's return to Chelsea left him further down the pecking order at the club he joined as a young boy in 2004. Abraham has scored 30 times for Chelsea in all competitions since breaking through in 2019, but his most prolific league season as a professional came on loan in the second-tier championship with Aston Villa, where he scored 25 goals in 2018 to 2019. And finally, Lille's Portugal midfielder Renato Sanchez has undergone surgery on his knee injury and will be out for 6 weeks, the French champions announced. Sanchez had been struggling with his knee for several weeks. Lille said in a statement on Monday evening that he would begin rehabilitation this week. A 6-week absence would mean he misses the club's first two Championship League group stage matches in September. The injury also reduces the chances that Lille will sell one of their most valuable assets before the transfer window closes at the end of August. With that, we've come to the end of the news, a recap of the major headlines. World Health Organization alerts to fake COVID-19 vaccines as federal government receives more doses, begins vaccination. And Japan expands virus emergency to battle surge. Portugal battles wildfire as heat wave persists. And on the world of sports, Abraham completes Roma switch from Chelsea for €40 million. And ensure to go by all precautionary measures to stay safe from COVID-19 as recommended by the World Health Organization and the Nigerian Center for Disease Control. Do remember to download our app T-Solid on Play Store or log on to www.tsolid.tv. You can as well follow us on our various social media platforms on our T-Solid Radio TV. The news was compiled and edited by Olorunishola Mary Omolafe. I am Joy Akin Olamigoke. Good afternoon and many thanks for listening.